garland. I've been doing reverse collage for years and years and years, and I never get tired of doing it because it's such a wonderful technique to achieve all different kinds of looks. As you can see, it can go for animal print or a contemporary feeling or a traditional feeling, and I happen to love animal print, as you probably know. And if you have used animal print a lot in your home and you are a little bit afraid that it's going out of style or you were just following a trend, don't dismay, because I have been reading up on this, and it happens to be called the new neutral in home decorating. This is a style that can blend with just about any style. If you've got an apartment in Paris, or you have a little country retreat, you can still throw an animal print pillow or what have you in a room, and it just adds a little bit more pizzazz. Now I'm going to show you how I achieved this really gorgeous animal print that you saw on the tabletop and on the place setting, because it looks like it is a little bit more involved than just slapping on some tissue or a poster print or just any little thing. And it is. It's a combination of two different colors of tissue, and then there's actually paint added to it. And if you'll notice on this ensemble with all the blue and the bright colors and the girl and the sunflowers, these were achieved with a lot of paint. Now you just decoupage the image on first, which is the face of the girl or the sunflowers, and then you add the paint with a sea sponge. With these, I just masked off each color and did that color. And then after it dried, then I was able to apply a second color. Now the one I'm going to show you is just the animal print, and it's much more simple than that. And if you can achieve this, then you can do any of these projects. I'm going to start out with just a dinner plate, a glass dinner plate, and decide what I want in the center, because I'm going to do something a little bit different than just the plain animal print tabletop, and I'm going to add something to the center. So what I did was go into my magazine clippings, and I found two images to choose from, and they both have eyes on them, and I think these will really make a fun decoupage piece. Now I just simply laid my plate on top of that image and drew around it with a pencil and cut it out. I've got two to choose from, and this one is a lot of fun. It has the black and the gold tones. But now this one is a little bit more earthy, and it has more brown tones, and I think that's going to lend itself better to the animal print. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is lay your plate or your tabletop upside down, because of course it's called reverse, and you're going to do everything in layers, so you want to decide which layer comes first. Well, that is decided on the image that you want to see above all the others, and this one is the girl's face in the center of the plate. So let's put that on, and then we'll grow it out from there. Now I'm using reverse collage glue, but you can actually use a little bit of a watered down white glue. Any of the white craft glues will work for this. Now I'm going to use a generous amount, and I'm going to remember as I'm doing this that I don't have to worry too much, because it's going to dry clear. That's the most wonderful part about this whole thing, is all of your glue will not ever even show up when you're finished. Now I've done that, and I'm going to seal the edges of this with the glue and just put a really thin layer over the top of it. As you can see, it's a magazine clipping. Now flip it over, and you can see how good that's going to look. Now let's continue, and what you want to do next is to do your spots. All you need is some black paper. You can use tissue paper or anything that's rather thin, and you're going to just tear out your spots, and you don't want them to look the same. And let me show you how I did that. Just tear out a strip of your black tissue or your black paper, and then just tear it into a sort of a rough circle or oval, and then tear out the center. And there you have a spot. Now if you make some of them that are torn in the middle, just pull out a little piece of it like that, and then you just lay them all out here, and I suggest that you do a whole lot of them and have them all ready to go. Now let's get busy and put some of those down. We're just going to lay them directly onto the plate. And remember, we're working in reverse, like I said, so we want the spots to really show up. So we're going to apply those first. And if you're working with tissue paper versus this scrapbooking paper, it'll go down really fast. Now just keep on going all the way around. Now, if you'll look at that table that I showed you earlier, you'll see that the spots on it are done in kind of a striped design. Now that's real important when you're doing a really, really large piece, because when you're doing a large piece, you're going to be able to see a lot of area at once. And that's where you're going to want it to look more like an actual animal's skin. Now, if you've looked at any of your magazines or decorator books, you'll see lots of animal print and get an idea of just exactly what the animal print looks like. And you know, you could do zebra. There's so many other prints you could do. And this is just going to be really, really dynamite. This would be a fun gift to give to someone too. And then one of the things that's fun about something like this is you could always write on the back a message when you're completely done in gold pen. Now we're going to leave some of those places blank, and our next step is to do some tissue paper. Now I've chosen a gold, sort of a metallic tissue paper, and I'm just going to crinkle it up really good. Isn't that fun? And then just tear out, just like 1 or 2 inch pieces. And like I said on the spots, make sure you just do lots of them so you don't have to stop and tear. Now we're going to put those over the top of our spots. And again, we're going to just lay the color to the front that we want to show, especially if you use a paper that has 2 different colors, one on the front and one on the back. Now notice I'm leaving a little bit of a gap in between those little pieces of tissue paper, because this is going to be something that's important when we put the layer of paint down, and that will be our next layer. Now if you just keep on working wet on wet, you don't have to apply more decoupage medium or white glue to the plate whenever you lay down your tissue. Now just continue to go on around the rim, and of course I'm not going to do the whole thing while you're standing here watching me. We'll just do a little bit so that you know what to do. Now let's flip it over and see what we've got so far, keeping in mind that it's going to be clear where the glue is. Now we get to put one more thing, and I'm just going to use some acrylic paint here and a sea sponge. I've just pulled off a little bit of my sea sponge and dab it so that you don't get a complete coverage, and then just go right into everything that's wet. You don't have to wait on this project. That's the best part. And it really, really goes fast, especially when you're doing a big table. You can do a whole table in probably an hour, have your project completely done. Now flip it over, and this is the look you're going to get. Let me show you over here on this finished one what it looks like when you flip it over after it dries. There you go. Flip it over, and you can always go back whenever it's all completely dry and add gold around the rim, and you have a really pretty reverse collage decorative project.